Short exercise 21-16. We're going to calculate the break-even point for our company, but this time the company will have two products instead of just one product. Wild Water Swim Park sells individual and family tickets. With a ticket, each person receives a meal, 3 beverages, and unlimited use of the swimming pools. Wild Waters has the following ticket prices and variable costs for the year. So the costs of the meals, the beverages, and usage of the swim pool are already included in the variable costs and the fixed costs. So an individual ticket costs $50 and the variable cost of that ticket is $35. Family ticket costs $150, variable cost is $140. So Wild Water expects to sell 1 individual ticket for every 4 family tickets. And their fixed costs are $27,500. So the first step, we're going to compute the weighted average contribution margin per ticket, then calculate the total number of tickets Wild Waters must sell to break even, and then calculate the number of individual tickets and the number of family tickets that must be sold to break even. So our goal is to calculate the total number of tickets Wild Waters must sell to break even. And the break even analysis is basically just a target profit of 0. So normally we would just use this formula: required sale in units equals fixed costs plus target profit divided by contribution margin per unit. But this time, since we have more than one product, the denominator instead of contribution margin per unit is going to be the weighted average contribution margin per unit. So how do we calculate the weighted average contribution margin for 2 products? We're going to have to calculate the contribution margin for the individual ticket, the contribution margin for the family ticket, and then multiply it by the ratio. And the ratio is right here. They expect to sell 1 individual ticket for every 4 family tickets. So what that means is that for every 5 tickets that they sell, remember they're going to sell 4 to 1, for every 5 tickets they sell, 1 will be an individual ticket and 4 will be family tickets. So this park is very popular with families. So requirement 1, compute the weighted average contribution margin per ticket. So before we can do the weighted average, we have to calculate the contribution margin per ticket. And how do we calculate contribution margin? So unit contribution margin is sales revenue per unit minus the variable cost per unit. So we've got the individual ticket and then the family ticket. So we're going to take sales price per unit, and for the individual ticket it's $50 per ticket. For the family ticket it's $150 per ticket. And then we subtract the variable cost per unit, in this case variable cost per ticket. So for the individual it's $35, and the family ticket it's $140. And that equals our contribution margin per unit. So 50 minus 35 gives us $15 contribution margin for an individual ticket, and 150 minus 140 gives us a $10 contribution margin per family ticket. Next, we're going to multiply that by the sales mix in units. So what is the sales mix? They expect to sell 1 individual ticket, so we're going to put a 1 here, and 4 family tickets for a total of 5 tickets. So out of 5 tickets, 1 of them on average is an individual ticket and 4 of them are a family ticket. So the contribution margin, we're going to do that, we take the contribution margin per unit, multiply times the sales mix in units. So 15 times 1 is 15. And then so for the family contribution margin, we're going to take 10 times those 4 tickets. So we're going to get $40 of contribution margin for a total of 15 plus 40, 55. So in other words, when they sell 5 tickets, they'll generate about $55 of contribution margin, assuming that the ratio of 1 to 4 holds true. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take, to calculate the weighted average contribution margin, we're going to take the $55 of contribution margin divided by the 5 tickets, gives us a weighted average contribution margin per unit of $11. Next, requirement 2, calculate the total number of tickets Wild Waters must sell to break even. So again, break even is just a target profit analysis with a target profit of 0. So we're going to take the required sales in units is fixed costs plus target profit. But instead of instead of a contribution margin per unit, it's weighted average contribution margin per unit since we have multiple products. So fixed plus target divided by weighted average. Fixed costs plus the target profit divided by the weighted average contribution margin per unit. And CM stands for contribution margin, as you can see from right here. Also, it says complete all input units for items with a 0 value, enter a 0. So fixed costs, we need to find the fixed costs, which are up here, $27,500. Target profit, remember we're trying to find out how much they need to break even, which it tells you right here. Break even means a profit of 0. And divided by the weighted average contribution margin per unit, which is right here, $11. So now we're going to take 27,500 plus 0 divided by 11. So 27,500 divided by 11 gives us 2,500. So this 2,500 means we need to sell 2,500 tickets to break even. Excellent. Next, calculate the number of individual tickets and the number of family tickets that we must sell to break even. So we're going to sell 2,500 tickets to break even. So now the question is, how many of those tickets must be individual and how many must be family tickets? So the way we do that is we're going to take the number of tickets to break even and multiply it by the proportion of the sales mix. So how many tickets must we sell to break even? It says 2,500. So I can copy and paste that here and here. And then the proportion of the sales mix. So what's the proportion of the sales mix for individual? So remember, they expect to sell 1 for every 4. 1 individual ticket for every 4 family tickets. So that's a total of 5 tickets. So out of every 5 tickets, they expect to sell 1 individual. So that's 1 divided by 5. And for the family, they expect to sell 4 family tickets out of 5. So that's 4 divided by 5. Again, this means 4 tickets out of 5 will be family. 1 ticket out of 5 will be individual. So 2,500 divided by, or technically 2,500 times 1 divided by 5, that gives us 500 tickets. Now this one, we don't even have to do the math if we didn't want to. We didn't even have to multiply this. We could just take, if we have to sell 500 individual tickets and we must sell 2,500 tickets, this must be 2,000 tickets, because these two must add up to 2,500. But let's do the math to check. 2,500 times 4 divided by 5. 2,500 times 4 divided by 5 equals 2,000. And again, double check. Add this plus this, and it should be the same as the required number sales in units. So basically what this means is you would tell your CEO, we need to sell 2,500 tickets to break even. And of those 2,500 tickets, 500 must be individual and 2,000 must be family. And that's it.